means if there is an enemy at the gate, that means you are on the right track. If you have people coming up to you and sending messages that today's the end, doomsday is coming, oh, we gotta be careful, the squeeze is over, that is known as you are on the right track of fighting the good fight. So we are going to take a look at what the news articles are. When people just search AMC, it's gonna come up with either Yahoo Finance or CNBC. So right now we need to understand where that FUD is coming from. To give you a quick breakdown of what you need to know, we saw this set of big green candles, 3 green candles during the during the middle of the day hourly. So essentially a solid rip of $12 or so, from $44 all the way up to, well, actually, if you consider the wick of this candle, all the way up to $70. So that is a total of $25. And if you consider the bottom of this wick as well, we got up from 38 all the way to 70. That is almost a doubling of 50% of why? Well, when Adam Aaron mentioned this morning that there might be an 11.5 potential million at the market offering, this was part of a 43 million share sell. This is part of a share shelf. They wanted to talk about this in April. So this was old news. That was FUD. And they were already releasing articles like this that, you know, the filing is also full of kinds of caveats that amount to AMC telling investors, do not buy our stock right now. We believe that the recent volatility and the current market prices reflect market and trading dynamics unrelated to our underlying business. Under these circumstances, we caution you against investing in our Class A common stocks. So this is Adam Aaron coming to you and saying, I want true apes only. I want apes that are not afraid to miss out and drop down to zero. I want apes that are not going to paper hand. And so from there, we have the makings of a perfect FUD storm. What does FUD stand for? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So let's take a look at exactly what kind of experts are going to explain why AMC stock tanked. We're going to brief through this. It's a 4.5-minute video, after which I am going to show you exactly how I was able to track the bottom of the dip, with what tools, and if this video is not quite up to 2,000 likes yet, comment out which like you are down in the description, and let's get it out to as many apes as possible to prove that FUD does not win. All right, experts explain. Let's see what experts have to say. Three experts give their take. Okay.
The options activity is a key ingredient here. I've been following this market for a few years and I've never seen this much interest in options trading. Options activity on AMC hit a record high yesterday. So that's above the levels that we saw earlier in the year when the GameStop frenzy was first starting. And it shows you how this movement has grown. And people are looking to lottery ticket bets on AMC. You know, they're trying to double, triple, and maybe even quadruple their money within days or even hours.
So this is true in the sense that we are looking at AMC for months. We have been researching AMC and GME for months now, and now they are trying to make it seem like the people that are jumping on the stock are just looking for a lottery ticket. And this is the very beginning of being able to frame how this squeeze is going to turn up, because when the margin calls start to come in, when the hedge funds that are short on AMC and GME end up having to give up their hard-earned investments in your grandmother's 401k and all these other retirement accounts, and the entire market's tanks except these two meme stocks, they are going to look for the hungry lottery gamblers that need to be held accountable. Don't let them change the narrative. They're trying to frame AMC in a positive light to catch your attention, but then they're going to start spreading the FUD.
Through these call options.
One thing I can say that they did was very smart was when they put out their 8K, as you mentioned before in your show, is that they were disclosing to investors that this is a high risk investment. They could lose all of their money, that they should not be investing or buying these shares because of the volatility. So they really did try to cover their bases as far as their disclosures to investors in this offering. And that was a huge, big piece of disclosure for all of those Reddit traders out there.
Huge, big piece of disclosure. So we saw this news in the morning, right? We were bullish all the way up here. If this news didn't come out, Adam Aaron, you might have seen us hit $90 when we got hit at 77.26 with the news that this 11.5 offering was going to happen. That was where we started to hit down a $77 all the way to $38 difference. That is a total of more than 50% from the early morning highs of $77. So that said, we are now on the precipice of playing around with this news. Is Adam Aaron on our side? Having doubt of our leader is going to make it much harder for Apes to stay solidified. So as a reminder, Adam Aaron did this 3 weeks ago on Thursday, and that caused a 35% rip. This green candle was because he executed it successfully, something that he was planning to do anyway since April. So this is not new FUD. This is the ye old FUD that we see constantly.
To basically warn them and say, listen, you should not be purchasing these shares at these prices. You could lose all of your money. And the SEC is very concerned about that. And of course, their mandate is to protect the retail investors. So they like to see those disclosures. And I think that the fact that they put that language very explicitly in bold print in their filings does go a long way to protect them with this offering.
My biggest concern is what's going on with the individual investor, though, and that they've got to be able to understand kind of when they use leverage, what that really means. Leverage on the way up is a great thing. Leverage on the way down can rip your arms off. And I think the Robin Hoods of the world and the Ask Kevins of the world, we got to do a better job of making sure we educate the individual investor who likes to day trade to make sure they understand what the risks are when the markets start to turn around and how to handle it. A quick example: if you bought AMC at 10 and it goes to 20, is that not enough of a profit? It goes to 30. If it goes to 40, at what time do you start to trim that position, or in effect get rid of the position altogether?
That is the funniest FUD possible, which is why if you hate TD Ameritrade now for what the CEO and the chair just said, you should go on and head on over to Webull, right? Where they're not going to make a gaffe like this and say AMC, oh yeah, when do you get out? Is it this number? Is it this number? Because you're entirely ignoring the deep effing value, right? You're entirely ignoring the fact that shorts have not even begun to cover yet, and the expectation of that data coming into fruition is everything. People, perception is queen, right? We need to make it clear that when people like this chairman is telling you, hey, when's enough? When are you gonna stop being greedy, right? When are you gonna just, give back a little? When are you gonna take profits? We'll take profits when those hedgies are in the ground and we are fully on the moon. That's the when we take profits, right? Up until then, keep on loading on your rockets. I just put in another 50,000 into my buying power on Webull, right? So I am ready to catch any amount of weakness again because I am all in. I am 100% into the deep effing value of where AMC is moving into. And people like this guy is the very little nagging voice in your head from the mainstream media that says, haven't you had enough? Don't you want to get out right now? Don't be fooled.
Together. There are things that we've got to do a better job of with the day traders.
When these kinds of headlines occur, there's a team of SEC enforcement people already investigating. They'll probably put this information into the one they've already been investigating with the GameStop activity. What they'll do is they'll look for false statements. The way the SEC can bring cases here again is to find somebody who's uttering some sort of false statement amidst all the chaos and bedlam of those Reddit boards. I think that's sort of trying to find a firefly in a tornado. I don't think it's a very easy job. I've had to do that back when I was chief at the SEC, and it's very challenging. You might also find people who are promoting the stock and are paid to promote that stock and not necessarily disclosing the nature and amount of that compensation.
That's very interesting to hear the SEC head say. Well, let me just say out here, nobody is paying me to pump this stock. I have never told you guys buy AMC. This is where I'm gonna buy. You should buy into. I don't do that. We are not financial advisors. We're just providing you the evidence, the data itself, to talk about how you can detect deep effing value. And so with this little soundbite here, whether or not he is knowing it or not, Mr. SEC head has already started to plant the seed in your heads about, hey, seems like everybody's guilty except the hedge funds. Seems like every single person is trying to make this stock go up, and that is going to have serious consequences for sure. But who is the one that started those consequences? It's a consequence pie. Who is the one that started baking that consequence pie years ago? Hedge funds.
Also interesting this morning, what kind of caught my eye was AMC's disclosure where they said, look, we don't think anybody should be investing this way. We don't recommend that people buy our stock. That's straight from the Warren Buffett playbook. Remember, he used to write in his letters, I wouldn't recommend that anyone buy our stock, including anyone in our family. But at the same time, AMC is also offering securities and telling the public essentially that these are good securities to buy, I'm sure with lots of risk disclosure. So that might also catch the SEC's eye. And then also if any regulated persons, any regulated investment advisor, a broker or someone like that is participating for their own gain, sometimes they have higher fiduciary obligations.
I think that
that expert was not a good expert. Mostly because he's leveraging his position as the SEC head earlier to be able to tell Mr. Gary Gensler what to do. We have not heard much about what Mr. Gary Gensler, new head of the SEC, wants to do about this stock. But as of right now, a rip this far with this much publicity is 100% the biggest thing on his desk. So prepare for something to come out of the SEC, but not likely in the way that the head is saying. I'm imagining some hedge funds are going to get fried.
Moment, there is a feedback loop from the price going up, and AMC I think is playing this game a lot better than GameStop is. I think they're taking advantage of what might be an opportunistic moment of raising capital, because they're in a business that's in transition. I mean, you look at Amazon buying MGM for $9 billion. You see AT&T exiting the business. Clearly, the business is ripe for change. And AMC owns a niche of this business that's less critical than it used to be, but still a critical cog in the wheel. So I think that at the moment, there's clearly no way you can get to a $33 billion market cap with the old business model that AMC had.
Perfect. So now we have FUD from every angle. Now it's the trifecta of FUD. We have a guy, let's go back in time, okay? We have this guy who's telling us about the fundamentals and saying that AMC can't operate in this way, right? It's just fundamentally flawed. We have Mr. SEC head telling us that, hey, there's gonna be some regulators coming in, they're gonna want your head. You don't wanna be part of this dirty game of watching a stock go up. They're gonna have the head of a major broker say, AMC, when is enough for you guys? When are you guys gonna sell? And finally, I can't remember much of what this person said, but the general gist is when these kinds of stock trends happen, a lot of the people are gamblers and they don't care enough about the stock. They just care about making money. I know those of you watching are not those people. I know those of you watching since I was all the way down at 10,000 subs and lower they don't even care about making a couple of bucks scalping the stock from the top, right? When is enough? It's enough when the hedge funds finally realize that this is our economy. This is the people's, the majority's world here, and we are not going to allow you to manipulate stocks. Doesn't matter if it's AMC today or GME tomorrow or another stock in the future. We are not allowing you to do this anymore, and we're taking a stand. Like I promised, I am going to tell you how I was able to find and detect that dip this morning, right? From AMC, from my mouth to yours, we have cheat code algorithm giving us a little signal. I was looking at it during the live stream and I bought it at $38 when it had, and I think it was right here, a 4x4 buy signal. So you can take a look at cheat code yourself, but right here, let me pull it down a little bit more, is where I saw a 4 out of 4 buy signal here on 38. I decided to buy in and I was not disappointed. So I bought in 100 shares there. You guys get to see my full portfolio here. So this is only it's starting to become my biggest portfolio here, but I was up to $72,000 earlier, even more, 30,000. 30,000 and greater here. AMC Holdings 22,000 profit and loss here. So that is coming off of a small, reasonable investment in AMC. I don't expect you guys to follow me. I don't expect you guys to do what I do, but I do expect you guys to do your own research and continue pushing the envelope of what is expected and what the experts, in quotes, want you to believe. Thank you guys for joining along. Thank you guys for supporting the show, especially if you are a patron of the show, and press the Patreon link in the description. If you guys haven't yet had taken the advantage of getting $250 of free Bitcoin on BlockFi, that is in the description down below. Do it while Bitcoin is still deciding whether or not it wants to rip. And if you guys haven't had a chance to get either 1 free stock from Webull or 2, both of those options are in the description down below. And if you wanted to use Webull, it's free for $0 as a charting tool or as a broker by loading $100 into it in the first 30 days. And we'll see you in the money. Peace.